It's a YouTube rule that if you are a baseball content creator, you must put out predictions for the upcoming MLB season. So here's mine. Slightly biased, definitely rushed, and probably mostly wishful thinking because I'm horrible at predicting just about anything. I'm a Mets fan, which means that hope and heartbreak are both very much in play. Hi, everybody. My name is Craig. Welcome to MetropoliFins. We're YouTube's smallest New York Mets and Miami Dolphins channel. All right, we're going to predict all the awards. First, I'm going to give you the top three, my guess for first, second, and third in voting in each of the awards. We'll start with the American League because I don't really care about them. For the AL MVP, Bobby Witt Jr., he's going to win it. He's electric, and if KC is even in the discussion this year, which they won't be, no, I'm just kidding. If they are in the discussion this year, he will be the reason why I believe he is the real deal, and I think you are going to see him break out. Number two, Vlad Guerrero Jr., contract year. That Vladdy is going to be dangerous. Vladdy, I think he has nothing to go for but dollar signs this year. So I'm not expecting the Blue Jays to be in contention. And so I expect him to have lots of opportunities to be swinging for the fences. And number three, the dark horse candidate, even though you probably shouldn't discount him, a lot of people will be because nobody thinks he can stay healthy. But here you go. Mike Trout. Mike Trout is going to finish third in MVP voting this year, and he is going to lead a Los Angeles Angels resurgence that nobody is seeing coming except for me. And again, if you can trust anyone with predictions, it's definitely a Mets fan for sure. All right, American League Cy Young, Garrett Crochet is going to get the attention that he finally deserves, being on the Red Sox, being on a team that's going to be a whole lot more competitive than the White Sox team that he was on last year. Tariq Skubal is going to be number two in Cy Young voting, and I think it's actually going to help him having a better rotation around him throughout the year. I think that teams are going to really just try to have to figure out a whole lot better strategy because they're not just going to be facing a bunch of bullpen games. And so I think it's going to actually help Skubal to maintain his success. And number three, Logan Gilbert of the Mariners. Mariners have always kind of been one of those teams that I enjoy cheering on a little bit, even though I don't care that much about him. But I think that he is going to probably be in contention, but not really have the absolute dynamite team around him that he needs, despite what Julio can provide. But I think it's going to be a solid, steady year. All right, American League Rookie of the Year. I pretty much just picked these names out of a hat. Jackson Jobe of the Tigers. He is going to be your American League Rookie of the Year winner. Yes, I said it. Number two, Jacob Wilson of the Sacramento Athletics. It sounds so weird. Sacramento. Or the Athletics, I guess is basically what they're called, right? Anyway, point is Jacob Wilson, watch out for him. And then third, Cam Smith from the Astros. He is going to be making a huge impact there. So that's what we got. Okay, now to the league that we actually care about here, the National League. Here we go. National League MVP, no, I'm not going to put Juan Soto number one. In fact, I don't even have Juan Soto in my top four, but I'll tell you who is going to win it in the National League, and it's not Shohei Ohtani. It is Elly De La Cruz with the MVP upset this year. If he puts everything together, this is the unreal season. Number two, Shohei. Shohei's going to still be there, because of that. But I do think that now that he has won an MVP as just a designated hitter, that I think that maybe voters will get a little bit sick of that and the dynamic offense that Elly brings, and assuming that he can continue with his torrid pace of stealing bases is going to help win it. And number three, and this is based on how I believe the team is going to do this year, it's going to be Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's number three. I actually have Lindor and Soto finishing fourth and fifth, splitting votes from each other. That's where I have them on this MVP because I think they're both so good, and that I think that you're going to have lots of people who will not vote for Soto because they'll say, well, he can't live up to his contract. And then I think that you're going to have that split. So that's where I have those two guys. All right, National League Cy Young. Again, more Phillies. This is horrible. And this one is even harder to say because it's former Met. But Zach Wheeler is going to be your National League Cy Young this year. Blake Snell going over to the Dodgers is going to now have that amazing lineup. And I understand that a lot of you don't think that wins and losses matter, but I still think there's a portion of the voting block that still looks at that. And so I think if he stays healthy, has a great season, he's going to have a great win total that's going to be all around him as well. And lastly, here's a little homer pick for you. Number 3 in the Cy Young voting. And I know, whatever, roast me. It's okay, because this is going to age horribly, and that's why we're making this video. It's Clay Holmes. What? Yeah, this is a total homer pick. I get it. But he is our opening day starter, and if the offense stays up to how it's going to be, and if his arm can hold out for the whole season, we're dreaming big in Queens this year. I got to get at least one Met in my end of the year award prediction. Again, not saying he's going to win it, just saying that he's going to be number 3 there. All right, National League Rookie of the Year. I hate doing, man, Dodgers, Phillies, everywhere. Don't like this. Rookie Sasaki. He has such a huge lineup around him that he doesn't even have to be amazing. He just has to be good enough, and that's going to be there. Number 2 is Dylan Cruz. Again, he's one of the big favorites that you're seeing everywhere. Out of the Nationals, again, this Nationals team, I expect to see them turning around here in the next year or two, and I think Dylan Cruz is going to be a big part of that. And last, this is a name to watch. This is a guy I've been watching, keep an eye on for years. He's not breaking camp with them, but Zach Veen of the Colorado Rockies. And I think as long as he can come up early enough in the year and he can have lots of summer games in Coors Field, it's going to help him. So now let's lay down exactly how I think everybody's going to finish. I'm not going to give win totals. I'm just going to give seeding totals, because that's really all that matters from the playoff side. It doesn't matter how many wins you have. All right, the number 1 seed, and we'll do the American League first again here. Okay, the number 1 seed in the American League, the Baltimore Orioles. I think they are going to put it all together this year. I think you finally have enough seasoning of all of those guys that they are going to be ready to go. The number 2 seed out of the AL West is going to be the Texas Rangers. This is going to be in part based on what I believe will be a Jacob deGrom resurgence. I have deGrom in probably my top 5 AL Cy Young picks, just out of the top 3, and I think that he is going to be strong this year. The number 3 seed out of the Central, led by the Fighting Bobby Witt Juniors, will be the Kansas City Royals. All right, and then your wild cards, number 4. Your number 4 seed will be the Tigers. Number 5 seed is going to be those Angels that I'm telling you about. I'm telling you, it's going to be a Mike Trout-led team. It's going to, I know it's blowing my mind that that's how it's going to happen. And if it does happen, it'll really blow everybody's mind. But at least I'm going to have it on film that I predicted it. And number 6, they're going to be the Red Sox. And I think that the Red Sox are going to have a good season. They're going to make the playoffs. But I think that they're going to not quite live up to the expectations that everybody else has this year. So we'll see. I just think that they're not quite as advanced yet as other things. Last team out, and this feels good to say, last team out, the New York Yankees. Now, mind you, I wouldn't mind seeing a Subway Series, but I just think the loss of Garrett Cole is just too much. Too much for the Yankees to overcome this year. And in the National League, we got... the number 1 seed will be the Dodgers. Sorry, I can't go crazy on this. There's just, that lineup is so deep from top to bottom, and I just don't, it would be something catastrophic. It would take multiple injuries for multiple players for multiple months to really do that. The team is just the best team in baseball, the deepest team in baseball, and I hate to say it, but I will be shocked if it is anyone but the Dodgers as the 1 seed in the National League. The number 2 seed is going to be the Phillies. Phillies are going to have a good year. And I think both the Phillies and the Mets are going to actually turn tables on another team in the NL East that we'll get to in just a moment. So I have the Phillies as the 2 seed, and the Cincinnati Reds, led by Elly De La Cruz, will be the 3 seed. So I think that is just one of those young teams that looking forward to. I've got the Mets, your New York Mets, as the number 4 seed going into the playoffs as the first wild card. The Brewers as the 5 seed. And the Diamondbacks as the 6th seed. Now, it doesn't necessarily always happen this way, but I think I have an East, Central, and West team from both leagues as wild cards. So 2 teams from each. So, and the last team out, of course, will be the team that the Phillies and the Mets will beat up on throughout the season. They're going to have a good season, but I think that they're going to take enough losses at the hands of the Mets and the Phillies. And honestly, it's the best thing for both of those teams if the Braves simply just don't make the playoffs. So Braves are going to be your last team out in the National League. All right, so what do the brackets look like? I'm going to fly through this really quick because I know you don't care, and you better not be betting on any of these picks because that would be the stupidest thing that I think you could do. All right, in the AL wildcard round, I've I've got the Red Sox knocking out the Royals. I do think the Red Sox will peak at the end of the season. I don't think the Royals are quite ready yet to take on that high-level pressure. And I do have the Tigers knocking out the Angels. Their magic is going to run out in the playoffs very quickly, and the Tigers are a much more seasoned team. In the division series, I've got the Orioles beating the Red Sox to claim once and for all dominance of the American League East, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs, and the Texas Rangers knocking out the Tigers. And in the ALCS, I've got the Baltimore Orioles winning it all and going to the World Series this year. Again, maybe that's wishful thinking on my part, but I just think that this team is built, and I think they're ready to get over the hump this year. So we're going to see how that goes. All right, in the National League wildcard round, the Reds are going to beat the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks will be there, but they're just going to be kind of one of those teams where they're good and they're there, but they're just not great. And I think the Reds are going to ride Ellie to the next round. The Mets and the Fighting David Stearns are going to take out the Brewers once again. I don't see the Brewers, if they couldn't take care of the Mets last season, I don't see how they will be able to take care of them this season. In the National League Division Series, the Mets are going to pull off the upset against the Dodgers. I'm going to just guess that it's actually based off of the fact that the Dodgers probably won't be full strength for one reason or another. And so I'm just going out there on a limb, and the Phillies are going to knock off the Reds, which leads to a Mets versus Phillies National League Championship Series, which is going to be absolute pandemonium and chaos. And it's going to be won by the Mets, leading us to a rematch of the 1969 World Series. Yes. You heard it here first. Can barely contain myself. You're going to see Mets versus Orioles in the World Series this year. But unfortunately, Mets fans, it's not going to end the same, because the Orioles are going to take it, and they are going to get back the magic that they lost to the Miracle Mets back in 1969. It's going to be the revenge of the Orioles. And the Orioles are going to be your 2025 World Series champions. All right, now that my chaotic picks are all done and out, post your picks down in the comments. What's one of my crazy picks that you actually think could happen this year? And post also what's one crazy pick that I didn't even think about that you think is going to happen, because at least you might as well have it in writing. So that way, after the season is over, you can come and make your brag post.